Welcome to Body Love Com Wellness Channel. This is Dr. Ferdy or just Ferdy. This session is about gut health and migraine. I am so glad you are here. If you have found this recording, there is a good chance migraines are part of your life in a way that most people around you just don't fully understand. Maybe you have sat in a darkened room, unable to bear the sound of a television in another room, waiting for the pain to pass. Maybe you have canceled plans, missed work, or quietly grieved the version of yourself that existed before the headache started. Maybe you have tried everything your doctor suggested and you are still searching. I want you to know that search is not in vain. And today, we are going to explore a connection that is genuinely changing the way researchers and clinicians think about migraines. That connection is between your gut and your brain. Now, I know what you might be thinking. My gut? I am here about my head. But stay with me, because what we now understand about the gut-brain relationship is remarkable. It is not a metaphor. It is not alternative medicine. It is a rapidly growing field of neuroscience, gastroenterology, and immunology. And the findings are pointing toward real, practical ways that people who suffer from migraines can find relief by paying closer attention to what is happening from the neck down. Over the course of this recording, we are going to cover a lot of ground together. We will start by making sure we have a solid understanding of what migraines actually are, because they are far more complex than most people realize. Then, we will introduce you to something called the gut-brain axis, that hidden communication highway that runs between your digestive system and your nervous system. We will talk about the gut microbiome, about serotonin, about inflammation, and about how what you eat and how you live can influence frequency and severity of your migraines. And then, most importantly, we will end with practical, actionable steps, because understanding is only useful when it leads somewhere. So, let's begin. Take a comfortable breath and let's talk about your gut, your brain, and the extraordinary conversation happening between them every single day. Before we talk about the gut-brain connection, I want to spend a few minutes really honoring what migraine is. Because one of the most frustrating things about being migraine sufferer is that the word headache massively undersells the experience. A migraine is a neurological event. It is a disorder of the brain, not simply pain in the head. And when you understand it that way, it changes how you approach it and how you talk about it with others. Migraine affects roughly 1 billion people worldwide. 1 billion. Let that sink in. That makes it the third most prevalent illness on the planet. And yet, it remains one of the most underfunded and underestimated conditions in medicine. The World Health Organization ranked it among the most disabling condition a person can live with. Not because every migraine is debilitating, but because for roughly 200 million people who experience chronic migraine, meaning 15 or more headache days per month, the impact on quality of life is profound. So what actually happens during a migraine? A migraine typically unfolds in phases. Not everyone experiences every phase, but understanding the pattern can help you recognize what your body is doing and eventually intervene earlier. The first phase is called the prodrome. This can start anywhere from a few hours to a couple days before the headache itself. During the prodrome, you might notice subtle changes, food craving, neck stiffness, increased yawning, mood shift, sensitivity to light, or a feeling of unusual fatigue. Many migraine sufferers have learned to read these early warning signs and their body raising a flag. Some people, about a quarter of migraine sufferers, then experience something called an aura. An aura is a set of neurological symptoms that typically precede the headache phase. The most common aura is visual: zigzag line, flashing lights, blind spots, or the sensation of looking through broken glass. But aura can also involve tingling or numbness on one side of the body, speech difficulty, or even temporary weakness. These symptoms can be frightening, especially the first time they occur, but they are a signal from the brain, and they are also a window of time where intervention is sometimes possible. Then comes the headache phase itself. The pain of migraine is typically pulsing or throbbing, often on one side of the head, though not always. It is usually moderate to severe in intensity. It is worsening by physical activity. It is accompanied by nausea and sometimes vomiting. And it is exacerbated by light and sound. This phase can last anywhere from 4 hours to 72 hours without effective treatment. After the headache passes, many people enter what's called the postdrome, sometimes nicknamed the migraine hangover. You may feel washed out, foggy, emotionally or physically exhausted. And this phase can last another day or two, meaning that a single migraine can effectively consume 3 to 5 days of your life. Now, why this happen? What is the brain doing? The most current understanding is that migraines involve a complex cascade of events in the brain. One key player is something called cortical spreading depression, a wave of electrical activity that moves across the surface of the brain, followed by a period of suppressed activity. This wave is thought to activate the trigeminal nerve, a major nerve in the face and head. which then trigger the release of inflammatory molecule around the blood vessel of the brain. The result is the throbbing of one side pain that defines a migraine attack. Serotonin level fluctuate significantly during a migraine, dropping during the attack itself. Calcitonin gene-related peptide, or CGRP, is released and plays a central role in the pain and inflammation. Blood vessel dilate. Nerve endings become hypersensitive. The whole system is in a kind of alarm state. And here is where the gut becomes relevant, because many of the key players in the cascade, meaning serotonin, inflammation, the vagus nerves, histamine, are deeply connected to what is happening in your digestive system. The brain does not operate in isolation, and neither does the gut. They are in constant conversation, and that conversation is what we are going to explore next.